What is up? I see Peter. I see, I'm gonna mispronounce your name, Santosh. Is that right?
Yes, Jordan. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, good. Thanks
Awesome.
for asking.
And Tom, if you guys want to turn your cameras on, that would be awesome. If not,
But Jordan has some problem with my camera. In fact, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So right now it's not working. I'm really sorry for that. But
okay, that's no problem. No problem. Angel's coming in. All right. All right, so we'll hop to it. What we will do, the purpose of this is obviously training. We'll go over the software. If you guys have any questions, we can answer those questions. We can dive into some details as well. That's no problem. We've got Angel here as well. And just a quick disclaimer, we are not offering you any legal advice. We have no legal expertise, so anything that we're suggesting, please run it past your legal team before you implement anything. And another thing I want to mention is if you get any value out of what we are covering in here today, we have a coaching program that Angel is a part of, where you will get all of this in a much more personalized, detailed fashion. So if that is something you are interested in, we'll put a link in here. You can book a call. We are not obligating anyone or trying to sell anyone anything that they don't need. But if you want help, if you're at one level and you want to get to the next level, we can help you with that. So with that, what questions can we answer today? Drop a 1 in the chat if you are listening and available, and 2, we might as well just hop to it. So
what's going on, Santosh, Tom, Peter? How's everybody doing today?
very good, very well, Angel. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. So if you guys have no questions, what I would love to do, because there's not a lot of you guys on here right now as we speak, go around the room and just kind of talk a little bit about your business and kind of how you're using Funnelbolt and your goals, and see kind of how we can learn from each other and go from there, unless someone has a very specific question that we can talk about right now. But that way we can kind of guide you based on what we see. Can definitely help you out. So Santosh, you want to go first? Is that how you say your name, by the way? I want to make sure I say it correctly. Santosh. Awesome, yes. Man. So how about you start, brother? Go ahead, give us a little bit of information about your business, and then we'll go from there, brother.
All right. So I represent a startup called Sort Digital. It's a digital agency. We have a distributor team. And Mike is the founder of Sort Digital. He's based in Belarus, and we have teams in India, Pakistan, Philippines, and Spain. And it's a very small startup of around 20 people. We're just starting off, and we recently subscribed to Funnelbolt, and yeah. So I had a few questions about Funnelbolt, definitely, which I want to ask if you're okay.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. What are your questions?
Yeah. So actually, we have multiple clients, right? So I have added different clients according to the names, with the code names. So and the clients will be like increasing day by day. Right now we have added around 10 to 12 clients. I will just share my screen if you're okay with it.
Yeah, go for it. Jordan, can you give them a permission?
Yep, all good.
Go for it.
Right. Yeah, so these are the different clients, right? And it will be increasing every day. So what we want to do is we want to group this according to the codes, right? So let's say the first one and the second last one has the same code, CCH, CDR, but one is in the top and one is at the bottom. So we want to group this. So
Mhm.
how do we go? I mean, is it possible, or do you think you could help us by doing some minute tweaks here and there?
Let me ask you this, Santosh. Are those two people that you're choosing there, the top and the one before the bottom, are those on the same team? Are they on the same team and you're trying to put them under the same client account? Is that what you're trying to do? Are they separate clients doing separate campaigns? Like what's the relationship between those two?
Uh, so it's the same client. It's the same client. So we want to club, and for every client we have given a course, you know, and
When
so
you
yeah,
say when you say codes, Santosh, what do you mean by that? What are you trying to accomplish with that? I see that you have codes there, but what does that in your business mean to the campaign?
See, I mean, we have a lot of more than 150, 100 to 150 codes. I'm not sure, but it's between 100 to 150 codes
Mm-hmm.
for each client and companies, and it's for everything. We just code it to make it more organized,
Got it.
uh, right?
So it's just to
And
distinguish your client. So rather than saying, this is
mhm,
Johnny Plumber, you're distinguishing it by this unique code.
right.
And what you're trying to do is combine Alessandra with the other email that you have. Is that correct?
Right. Like, let's say if I have 100 clients here in the drop down menu, I don't want to, go and search here and there, like, where is my, this code. No. So I just
I
want to
see.
club
I
it.
see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So you're just trying to find like a search feature that you can find your clients quickly. Is that right? By just typing in
Right,
the code.
right, 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 right. So it would
Can
be
you do that
really nice.
with the search right there to the right?
Sorry?
That's gonna reference the contacts in the account.
The context, not the client. Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
I think to answer your question, for right now, we don't have a good way to sort this, but that's a very simple thing that we can add. So we could do like a ascending or descending order by
Alphabetical order.
alphabetical order. That way,
Yeah.
for these codes, you can easily reference the codes, and then your clients your client accounts here are all going to have separate contacts, separate lists, and all of that. So it's going to be segmented from there. You're just asking, if you added another 100 to this or whatever, how
How
you
to
can
quickly
easily
find them.
find it.
Right, right,
So yeah,
right, right.
that is something to answer your question. Honestly, at this point, we don't have that feature, but it would be very easy to add that in
Mm-hmm.
here. So.
Great, great, great.
You're the
So,
first person I think we've had that references client accounts by codes.
okay. uh,
But it's
all right. So
understandable. So great feedback there, Santosh. We'll definitely add it to the list. And like Jordan said, it's not going to be that difficult to make those changes.
that will be really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
One more question, Angel. So if when I go to dashboard, right, so I just have this statistics. So uh, is there is any other way to get more statistics? Like, I want to know the open rate of my campaigns and reply rate and all that. Yeah, basically these two metrics are really important for me, the reply rate
Mm-hmm.
and open rate. So but I don't see it here, usually in my previous experience with cold email uh, tools,
For
these are
sure.
something very standard. So just
So
wondering.
so with Funnelbolt, our main goal is to really be a specialist in the follow-up. With cold emailing, there's going to be different strategies that are probably going to be a little bit more effective only because they'll give you those metrics that you're looking for, like the open rates and the reply rates and things of that nature. Funnelbolt specializes in the back end. So, once you do generate a lead from cold email, let's just say, and you capture that information, you would use Funnelbolt to do some type, follow-up campaign, for example, where, you're dealing with a warm list or a list that has opted in to something, and you don't necessarily need those open rates and things like that. But, you know, in the near future, we will, you know, add things like that to give you more metrics. But right now, you know, there's going to be other softwares for cold emailing specifically, you know, that are going to be a better fit because they will give you those metrics. Whereas we're here more on the back end stuff that you don't need those specific metrics for.
Right. Got it. All right. Yeah. So as of now, that's only two questions I had.
No worries. And we're going to come out in the near future. So that's like my specialty is cold email. We'll come out with a master class here in the near future on how to like really take, you know, do that the right way. So you know, it's definitely going to be something, but right now, coming from someone who does it, like I would recommend to use, you know, there's other tools out there. I'm not going to say any names because there's a ton of them, but at the end of the day, follow up is what you're going to use Funnelbolt for more. So right now, and landing pages, and driving traffic to that, you know, more so than using it for cold email.
Got it, Angel. Thanks for your.
No problem. Tom, how are you, Tom? Are you there? I know Peter doesn't have any questions yet, but he might have something. What's up, my man? How are you?
How you guys doing?
We're doing great, man.
You know, I realize one thing. I got to change my name to something like Santos or something because that's a lot cooler than Tom. I need a much cooler name if I'm going to proceed here.
No worries, man. So, Tom, how has your experience been with Funnelbolt? Do you have any questions as far as use case? I know your industry, but have you been able to kind of wrap your head around how you're going to maximize, you know, the follow-up in the campaigns using Funnelbolt? Have you been able to play with it? Things of that nature. Where are you at?
Truth be told, when we found out about it last week, we had gotten so excited. I haven't really slept since then, so I'm a little delirious in my thought process. But listen, you know, and you know the story. I mean, how ironic was this? You and I were talking, and we have, you know, we've been around for about 15 years, and you're familiar with the one project we're on, but we've used all the usual suspects. And we were on an active search to try to, you know, the complication, the user unfriendliness, because I think a lot of them are just too overwhelmed with trying to sell their affiliate side of this. The simplicity of this is just, you know, because even and you know, Charles is involved too. My colleague, he couldn't make it today. He's going to get his whatever shot today. But you know, when we had a chance to go over it, it just we've used 6 different platforms over the years, and it was just a complicated pain in the you-know-what process just to do a simple follow-up. And we're just kidding around. So, are you serious? And we just trying to set up a little campaign and go through this. We used to have a whiteboard that took up the whole wall just to try to set up a campaign. And at the end, we never launched it because I ended up with a headache. This so far, I mean, the landing pages are clean. They're precise. We have a couple we're going to show to clients this week. The idea that a guy filled out a form, we just want to get back to him, and we just want to follow up. So we're excited. We're early in the game. We're only a couple of days in, but my compliments to what you guys put together, because like I'll say from firsthand, we used all the others, and all you ended up is going out and buying a bottle of Tylenol, trying to put a silly, you know, just a silly little campaign. A guy, you know, raised his hand. Let's keep in touch with him. Go if this, then that, and this, and no. So we're excited because we finally found. We've purged everything. We have thrown everything else in a go. We found a home, and we're excited. You know, we're only a couple days into this. But so far, what we've seen, we're excited to not only use it on the project you and I have spoke about with the other thing, but across the board. Any client we have, we're moving everything over to this.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions as far as you know, usability, as far as use cases for any of your current clients at all, or are you kind of cruising right now?
You know me by now. I talk a lot, but basically I have no idea what I'm doing. So with regard, no, I guess we did have one little thing. So on the opens, well, 2 things. Number one, so the RVMs, you're hearing all kind of rumblings about the ringless voicemails. But as long as people are opting in, there's no issue with using them. They're talking about people using in
correct
spamming circumstances. Which I have to admit we're guilty of years ago, but but as long as somebody's opted in, we could pretty much do whatever we want with regards to communication, correct?
100%. Yeah. So that's the legal way of doing it, right? When you got people uploading lists of phone numbers in mass, just scraping it off of a software or whatever, and uploading it and sending a ringless voicemail, that is considered spam, because you're talking about people on that list that are on do not call lists, and things of that nature, and they can actually just take that message and forward it to the legal authorities and actually get a sue happening, because you literally are surpassing their do not call list and you're calling somebody illegally, essentially.
No, and I'm familiar with it. Somebody was trying to tell me I said, I find that hard. Even my dentist uses it. I welcome that call. Oh, by the way, you have a dentist appointment tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have shown up without it. They're using text and these tools. They're nice tools to use.
Yeah. So after they opt in, and that's why we always recommend to if you're not going to sell anything, at least give something away in exchange for that information, right? So then you can get the permission of following up and sending text messages and emails and voicemails and things of that nature, even placing a call at random without having an appointment scheduled, because they have raised their hand for whatever that thing is that you've been offering, right? So that's why we recommend that. So if you're not selling anything on the front end, at least give something away of value. Get their name, email, and phone number in exchange for that. And then you now have the floor to message them in any which way you want and continue to provide value without really their permission, because they're giving you permission in that exchange where they're hitting submit, and, bam, in your terms, it says, because every time you have an opt-in page, you should have terms and privacy policy. Yeah. In those terms, it says you're giving us permission, if you hit send, to send you more stuff.
Okay. No.
So legally, it's allowed. I won't ever recommend anyone to upload a list of phone numbers and send a voicemail out like that. I've never ran that strategy, and I like to control what I can control. If I can avoid a lawsuit by just not doing that, I'm not going to do it. It's just
and if we were to do it, we'd just say a guy named Angel told us to. So,
yeah. Just run this little snippet as an ad, and you're good to go.
And Angel, sure. to my understanding, and I like it because it really gets to the basics of these, what like they call, if this, then that process. And so the initial campaigns are set up along the lines of, be it cold or whatever the case may be, it's for the people that replied to, let's say, whatever our campaign is. It's an email. So they replied and the sequence created. And we might not have just gotten there yet, but are there situations where is that a separate campaign for the people that haven't opened up? Does that create another sequence, or are we not doing stuff like that? Does that make sense? So we sent out 100 emails, 10 people responded. They're going to get our sequence, our follow-up sequence. But the 90 that didn't, is that a matter of setting up separate campaigns for the 90 that didn't? How's that going?
Yeah, so great question. So essentially, just to kind of reiterate your question for everybody, what Tom's asking is, if you set up a follow-up campaign, is it triggered based on non-opens or non-replies, or just the non-replies, and what happens to those that didn't open, right? So those that didn't open the campaign, if it's an email or text, you have a button in your Funnelbolt account that says, click here if you want the campaign to stop if someone responds. Jordan, do you want to share your screen to just kind of give everybody kind of a visual
I get it. So
of what we're talking about?
So the campaign runs, and basically by responding, you're sort of opting out, basically.
Correct. So whether you're replying via text or via email, as long as they're within that campaign, right, that's gonna trigger the campaign to completely stop. Okay. So whether it was an email or a text, as long as it's under the roof of that campaign, it's going to stop, which at that point, that's kind of where you want to have either your sales rep or yourself go out and outreach and, continue that conversation. So here you see on the screen, this is a campaign. You click that button, auto stop when someone responds. Okay. So anything underneath this roof, whether it's a text, email, obviously they can't reply via voicemail, but if they reply via text or email, it's going to trigger the campaign to completely stop. And then, that's when either you can come in and drag them into a different deal stage that triggers a different campaign potentially, right? Because at that point, you're in control of what you do with that conversation or with that individual. So You can choose to.
Would we be doing that off this platform? So let me reverse that question. So the 10 that did reply, we called them, whatever. But now can we build that? So same example, 100, 90 didn't. I get that. They'll continue getting the sequence. But the 10 now that have been stopped out, at that point, would we create another campaign for the people that we did respond to? So let's say we want to keep touching them, so to speak.
Yeah, you can. So you would just, take those that replied
right.
and add them into a different campaign if that's what you want to do with them.
Okay.
Or you would add an additional campaign that after, those 90 go through it and no one replied, you can add them to a different one and try something different possibly. There's you're in control of what happens after, the lead either responds or doesn't respond. So you would just have to set up those campaigns, where either you manually trigger them or you automatically trigger them based on an action that they're taking, so that they, fall into the campaign that you want them to go through, whether it's a continuing nurturing campaign or it's a campaign that you trigger when they reply saying, thank you so much. Here's my calendar link, to book a call.
And then once someone becomes like, we have another client, sorry, if I'm taking up too much time, just cut me off. But
no, you're good. You're good. I'm sure everyone's kind of learning from this.
So if we had once again, now we have someone that's an established client, for example, I'm working with insurance adjusters. Now, the insurance adjuster is right up there with like a funeral director. You only call them when you have a tragedy, but they would be on our list. So let's say we have a customer list of X, 1,000, 10,000 people that are in our database. Would we still use this platform for that monthly or bi-monthly touch of house tips and so on and so forth? Could we run that off of this platform? Let me give an example. How insurance adjuster represents the homeowner, for example. So our goal or ambition is, we have 10,000 people on our list. And, once a month, we're going to send them a newsletter or a house tip, spring cleaning tips. But then if a storm is coming, we know a storm's on the horizon, we would send out an email blast or a text blast saying, listen, by the way, we're expecting a storm this weekend. Make sure you shut your windows or whatever the case may be. And by the way, God forbid something happens before you call your insurance agent, don't forget the insurance doctor. So it would be a passive evergreen campaign, like maybe 24 times a year to keep in touch. But if we know something's coming up, we would want to use the RVM and the text messages. Does that make sense to try to initiate any activity? We would be able to do all of that off of this, correct? Or no, right? Or there's a reason.
Jordan, you can answer that one.
Yeah. So in that case, it would be you would use the drip campaign probably if you want to send like a blast. And so with that, it's going to be. And right now, this is a CSV type of thing, but you can add, so this would basically add certain tags, and we're adding, somewhere in here, we're working on adding lists to this too. And basically, once we have that list feature in here, which we just added the tags in the last 2 days, the list should show up by the end of this week.
Okay.
But what you would probably do in that case is, if I live in Ohio, I'm on the Ohio list, and then you've got a Pennsylvania list and an Indiana list and a Kentucky list, and storms are going to hit Ohio. So, okay, send campaign to Ohio list right now. And the way that this drip campaign is set up is it'll execute however many contacts. So however many you want to send per day or per minute, per hour, whatever, you can do that. And then all you have to do is assign the campaign that you created. Okay. So if it's an email or a text or whatever, just assign the campaign, and then you're good to go.
And then on the, and forgive me some of these questions, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer when it comes to these things, but with regards to the autoresponder aspect of this, so let's say, I understand downloading a list, but let's say on the first of the month, person one came in, and every 14 days they're getting an email, just for argument's sake. Sort of like an autoresponder mindset, every 14 days they're going to get a message from us. But the person that comes in on the third of the month wouldn't get a message for another 14 days. Does that make sense? Like autoresponder sequences. Are we doing that off of this, or would we be using a third party, Aweber type of platform to manage the autoresponder sequences, or I'm using just anybody, or can we
You
do
could
that?
you could do it with this. The difference between that type of campaign and the ones we've been talking about is that you would just untoggle the do not send if reply
Okay.
button,
Yeah.
so that no matter what happens, they're gonna still get an email every 7 days or every 14 days, because it's like almost like a newsletter
Right. That's they're in our
type deal.
family. They're in our family now. We want to keep them in touch.
Correct.
Okay.
And even if they respond, they would still get the other emails.
Got it. Okay.
Right. And you can always just add to those emails. And then what you would do is you would set an automation up so that, let's just say, for example, that you want them to be added to that list after they buy something from you. For
Right.
example, you would trigger that automation to happen when that purchase happens. Add, this group of people into this campaign.
Right.
You see, and then it would automatically add them into that bucket where you have those email and text automations that you want to set up within the campaign. So the first thing you would do is create that campaign. So, hybrid the text message, maybe some voicemails in there and emails. You would create that campaign first, segment that out however you want, every 7 days, every 14 days, however that gap you want.
Sure.
However, the consistency that you're looking for. And then you would untoggle the button that says, stop if someone replies stop the campaign, you would untoggle that. And then, it would just be automatic after that. And so even if you do get replies, guess what? They'll appear in your dashboard, but they won't be removed from the campaign. And you can have a conversation back and forth with that person via email or text if they happen to reply or have questions about an email that you sent.
Yeah, I didn't realize we could do that. That's even better. I mean, that's phenomenal. That's exciting.
Yeah, and then you can always, stop them from that campaign. For example, you can just easily move them over to a different campaign and stop that previous campaign if you want to push them into something else or something like that. So you're in complete control of who's in what campaign. And it's as simple as either dragging them over to a different deal stage that triggers a different campaign, or manually going in there and stopping the campaign and then moving them into something different that you want. So
cool.
It's very flexible as far as how you do it. You just got to make sure you're toggling the right buttons based on the end goal that you're wanting to do, because an appointment setting campaign is different than a nurturing campaign.
Agreed.
An appointment setting campaign is just to facilitate the speed to lead, right? Because if you're busy doing work or business or whatever, and you got a new lead come through your pipeline interested in raising their hand for what you have to offer, whether it's for your client or for your own business, you want to facilitate that speed, or expedite that speed to lead, so that you can roll out that red carpet, engage, acknowledge. It's like when you walk into a store, you feel awkward if someone doesn't say welcome. Same thing. You don't want to be that awkward guy that you walk into a store and everyone's like staring at their phone. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the feeling. So if someone opts into your business or your client's business, speed to lead, shoot them a text message. Hey, just got your information. Somebody from our team will be in contact with you here, or, here's this link to book a call, whatever your sales pipeline looks like.
There's so many business. I know everybody listening here. There's so many small businesses. I remember we were doing a rehab on a year ago, unrelated, on a house, and I called like 5. Nobody picks up the small business guys, painters, plumbers, contractors. Nobody picks up the phone. They'll leave you a message.
So bad.
Maybe look, I had guys like, I'm on the phone. Hey, I'm trying to give you my money. Will you call me back? Or a guy will call you back 5 days later. Yeah, somebody called about a paint job. I said, I already painted the house already. No, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
and it's just so
bad.
Because
and Tom, this brings up a great point for everyone on this call watching this live or on the replay. You can literally walk into a business. Let's say you don't do lead gen. Let's say you're not good at lead gen. Maybe you're not good at running ads. Most companies have, a flow of leads coming in. They just don't have their sales process, dialed in. So you can come in as a consultant, like, hey, I help you get more production from your pipeline. We'll plug you into our system. We'll build out all the scripts, all the appointments. We'll add, your own flavor into them. We can add case studies, videos of your projects, pictures of your testimonials, pictures of your home. We can add all that flavor into a automated campaign that happens anytime someone enters your business. So you roll a red carpet out for them, and speed to lead is there, meaning you're not going to allow any other, no leads to fall through the cracks.
See, we always understood the strategy. It's just you get on some of these platforms, you need 16 computer engineers and 5 years in computer college just to get your first, it was nonsensical. I always say they're building rocket ships for people that don't know how to ride bicycles yet, meaning the small business owner. And when we went through this, I said, oh my God, this is beautiful. This is perfect. You could set up a campaign in minutes.
So think about it like this, taking it a step, even just to add value to you guys. Think about, let's just pretend your niche is HVAC companies. Let's just say, Tom, you know the HVAC industry, you know what, the messaging should look like when they opt into an HVAC install or an inspection or whatever it is, an estimate. And you send up, you set up this automation campaign that's a hybrid between text, email, and voicemail, for example, right? And then you basically duplicate that and you go and get other HVAC companies, because it's already a proven method, that HVAC companies are plugged into, generating them appointments. And you then just duplicate that, because with Funnelbolt, you can easily just duplicate, those campaigns into a different client account. And then guess what? You now have a plug and play, rinse and repeat strategy or offer. You can go out and offer HVAC companies for, X amount of dollars reoccurring per month. Let's just say it's $500 a month, just literally to plug them into this system that's going to do their follow-ups and appointment settings for them, versus paying a VA or an assistant that sits at the front desk that doesn't like her job, who's not efficient, who's not effective, who's not prioritizing the lead flow. Right?
Who doesn't get back to you, by the way, for 6 hours? I mean,
who doesn't get back to you? Who doesn't pick up the phone?
No.
All these things, you can come in and say, hey, look, I'm not saying this is going to replace your front desk, but this is going to serve as a virtual front desk that will be your front line of defense, so that when your actual front desk gets to it, that carpet's already rolled out and they're already freaking warmed up and expecting you to reach out to them, whether it's by phone or whatever it is, by the time you do, whether it's 6 minutes later, 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later. As long as someone has touched base with that individual, the chances of them calling somebody else right after are very slim, versus somebody submitting information. No one touches base with them at all. Zero. Right? Most agencies or most businesses that do lead gen for companies, what do they do? They generate the lead and then they send it to the client via email. And they expect them to call them in 5 minutes or less. They expect them to send them a text message. They expect them to do email, follow up and all this stuff. So literally the person doing the lead generation as a service, all their success is reliant on the responsibility of the other person. So at the end of the month, when they say, hey, Angel, your leads suck, is it because I suck at generating leads, or is it because you suck at your sales process and following up and actually handling the leads that I'm generating?
Angel, I couldn't agree with you guys, but I'm telling you firsthand, anybody listening to this, I don't care if it's a plumber or electrician, down the board, maybe 1 out of 100 get it. The rest maybe get back to you. And all I know is because we try to, if I call the service and I got a message right back, look no further, we have you handled, we'll get somebody get back, I would stop calling, because I'm impatient.
You've been engaged. And you understand.
I was looking for a plumber a couple of weeks ago. The guy didn't answer. I called the next. I called, probably neurotically so, but I called 10 different plumbers, and then nobody's getting back. Had the first guy just got right, even in the voice of a text message, got your message.
Hey, just received your call. Out on the job right now. I'll give you a call back.
Yeah, I would have stopped calling. All right.
And so this is a huge opportunity for so many of you watching this. If you don't have yet an offer to go out to market with, this is a great starting offer. This is a great starting point. Call up companies and say, hey, do you have some time this next week that I can show you something that's going to allow you to get more production from your pipeline? Let's schedule a time next week. Who would be in charge of that? Like, who's the best person to speak to about that? Who can I speak to at your company that's in charge of getting, more production out of your pipeline? And it's a strange question, but it's an interesting question that speaks curiosity And if they don't even have someone in charge of that, they're going to tell you, I'm in charge. And that person might be the decision maker. And you got their interest. Now their curiosity is piqued. And now you say, hey, yeah, this is what we specialize in. We come in, we build systems for the back end of your pipeline. And I would love to share with you I would love to screen share with you and show you what we got, and kind of give you an idea of what we do and how we do it, and see if it's a good fit or not, right? Because if you have nothing to put out in the market that solves a problem, then you're going to be sitting here spinning your wheels, getting on these trainings every day and not getting anything out of it, right? So like, if you're at 0 clients, or you're kind of coming up with a new offer right now, this is a great starting point. Come in as a specialist that specializes in production of your pipeline. I specialize in helping, businesses who are either phone driven or appointment driven generate more production out of their pipeline and reducing the leads that fall through the cracks, allowing them to make more without spending more. It's a hell of an elevator pitch, if you ask me, right? But that could be either a supplemental offer that you offer or your core offer, and then that turns into a relationship. Then you can then cultivate into other services that you may do, whether it's SEO, Facebook, Google, website development, whatever you might do, mobile app development. Shit, if you have a meal prep company, throw that in there too. Whatever it is, at that point you have a relationship that gets you in the door by solving a massive problem, showing them a win, and then now they have trust in you to do other things for their company. Does that make sense? Drop a 1 in the chat if that makes sense to you guys. So I want to make sure that I'm not just speaking to Jordan here.
Can I just say one, or do I have to drop it in the chat?
Yeah, you could say 1. It's okay, Tom. We'll give you the.
I'll mute myself. I've taken up enough time. Thank you so much.
No worries, Tom. What's going on, Monique? Do you have any questions for us? I know there's not a lot of people on here right now. I know people are going to watch the replay, but I want to make sure that those that are here get a lot of value. And because you're here, Monique, you have the floor to ask any questions that you have.
Hey, Andrew. No, I'm just tuning in, just checking it out.
No worries. Are you currently using Funnelbolt or planning on using it? Do you currently, have any clients?
Using it.
Okay. What kind of business are you running? What kind of clients are you planning on using this for? So maybe we can give you some tips there.
Yeah, well, I do marketing for car dealerships. So
okay.
Helping them have show-ups.
Nice.
Car dealership is the main thing I want to help them do.
Nice. And right now, are you generating leads like via Facebook, Google? Like, what's your strategy there?
We're using Facebook ads right now at the moment.
Beautiful. Are you sending them to a landing page or lead form, or like what's the method there?
It's a Facebook lead form.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So, it's as simple as there's, you go into Zapier. You have a Zapier account, Monique?
I do.
So we have, obviously you have to create your Funnelbolt account first, but you have to get the app. Have you been able to get access to the Funnelbolt app within Zapier yet?
No, I haven't tried it out yet.
Jordan, can you show her how to get access to that, just so that we can?
Yeah. So whatever client account, doesn't matter where you're at, but if you hit the settings tab here on the left, and you go down here, connect Funnelbolt with Zapier. So if you click on this, and you have your Zapier account, it's going to put that app right into your account.
Okay.
So,
great.
And it works just like any other app. It just doesn't show up at first.
Because we're still adding some stuff to it.
Yeah, there's a few triggers we're going to be adding to it, and then once we're done, then we'll go through the approval process with them. But
so Monique, you grab the app, right? And then that would be kind of your source. So you grab, well, first off, it would be the lead ad first. So the lead ad would be the first app that you're choosing, right? Because you're connecting from there. And then you got to add the Funnelbolt app. So you're going to connect from the lead form to Funnelbolt. And then that within there, you'd be able to trigger whatever campaign you want to start. So in your case, it might be lead in. So Facebook ad, lead in. And then within that, actually, let me see if I could share my screen so I could show you real fast. Let me see here. Let me log into my account real quick, Monique. Give me 2 seconds. But yeah, you would trigger a campaign that happens when a lead goes into that specific point in your pipeline. Here, let me share my screen here. Give me one sec. All right, where are we at? Where are we at? Right here. All right, just confirm with me, guys. You can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah, you would just pick the campaign, you know, the client account that you're in. In this case, I'm in, I guess, Contractor Solutions. But what you would do is, so under deals, okay. So this is, I guess, you know, in this case of this pipeline, this is the first stage of my pipeline. So lead in, then I have contact made, proposal qualified, and completed. It's a pretty simple, basic pipeline here. But in your case, Monique, what you would do is, let's say you want to trigger a text message automation campaign that goes out when someone submits the form on Facebook, and then they come in here, right? You want it to maybe send a message out like, hey, first name, we just received your inquiry on what's the offer that you're putting out there, Monique? Like, what's the call to action for your ad? You there, Monique? I think your mic's like. All right. Well, we lost Monique there, but I'll just try to keep going. But let's just say her lead comes in, and the offer is maybe like, what's an offer for a car dealership? Like a free car tour or something? I don't know what that. I'd have to do some research, but get your free car tour. If that's the case, that's your offer. Let's just pretend you send a text message. Hey, first name, we just got your inquiry for the free car tour. Someone from our team is going to give you a call here within the next 15 to 20 minutes. We look forward to speaking with you and showing you around, for example, right? And then you would trigger that. So your run days, you would trigger, you know, the days that you want that campaign to run. And then you would trigger that campaign to go out. So in this case, let me just create a new one real fast just to show you guys. But let's just say that text message that we want to go out, we would trigger that at a relative time. And so I want to send this text message at a relative time, send the text message after 1 minute and 0 hours on day one, meaning I want a text message to go out the instant, basically 1 minute from the point that they filled out the form. And so here I would say, so hey, I would grab their tag here. So hey, first name. The way we have their first name is because they submitted that on the form on, let's say, the Facebook ad. We just received your inquiry. That's misspelled. Your inquiry for the free car tour. Someone, or you could say a member from our team will be in contact with you within 15 to 20 minutes. That's one way you could do it, right? And that would be instantly triggered from the point that they submit their lead form, automatically triggered into Funnelbolt at this point. And so the way that you trigger that to happen, let's just say I'm happy with this. I'm going to hit save. Oh, I didn't put a name. Let's just say new car dealership lead campaign. That's what I would name it, because you want to name the campaign, the intention of that campaign. So here's the new car dealership lead campaign, right? So that's how I know for a fact that that's the campaign that I want to trigger when a new lead comes in. And so I would go to deals. Let's say I want that to trigger for this stage here. I would go over to settings, and I see that the stage is here. I have 4,495 leads in this stage. That's a lot. Jesus, Jordan, what have we been doing? It's a lot of leads we got there. But you would go over here to actions under edit, and then you would just literally, so you see it here. I saved it here. So this is the new car dealership lead campaign. If I were to hit save changes here, Monique, and now you know you're going to probably catch the replay, so it's totally fine. It would trigger this campaign to start to trigger when a new lead gets added. Now, one thing to take in mind, if you already have leads in the deal stage and then you set this up afterwards, you're going to have to manually trigger the campaign to start because it doesn't know if that lead got the campaign or not. So if, let's say, I added this campaign right now, I would have to literally drag Candace out like that and drag her back in, and it would actually trigger that campaign. So that, Monique, is how you do it. Hopefully that provided you some value. I'm sure you'd be able to kind of connect the dots for the rest of the stuff. But if you need anything, I know your connection seems to be a little off right now. Just hit us up into Intercom and or post in the group, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So,
Okay.
What's going on, Felix? How are you, brother?
You guys?
So that's basically how you do that, Monique. Does anyone on the call have any other specific questions? Felix, do you have any questions? Tom, Monique, Santosh, you guys got the floor. You guys get the benefit of the doubt. This is like a miniature coaching session that you guys got. Felix is sipping on his favorite coffee, ready to grind it out. So does everyone on this call, someone put a question, I think. Monique said thank you. Does everyone on this call drop a 1 in the chat if you have an offer, right, to go out into the market and clients already paying you for that offer? Drop a 1 in the chat. Felix has 1. So Felix got an offer and he has a market for that offer. Drop a 2 in the chat if you do not have an offer, neither do you have a market for that offer, meaning you're kind of just in the thought process of figuring out what you're doing with your business and just trying to come up with a business idea, basically. I know Tom's got an offer to the market. Monique, are you currently working on that offer? Or are you already have clients that are dealerships and paying you money? All right. Well, I guess Monique's tapped out, but totally cool.
She said she's working on the offer.
Oh, she is? I can't even see that. I don't even know where you're seeing that.
It's sent to me, which is fine. But
Gotcha. So you're working on that offer.
Yeah.
No worries. No worries. So what I would do, Monique, right now is just focus on prospecting. So, rather than creating a pipeline for your clients right now, create your own pipeline where, you're focused on just filling up this first column of new prospects. So by doing organic messaging via Facebook, LinkedIn, cold email, cold calls, create a manual lead-in deal stage here. And then whenever you get a lead from your efforts, you're just going to go in here and add a deal and then manually input their information so that you can, continue to nurture that pipeline and get them into your offer. And if you need any help with that, that's kind of where, we can help you with that. If you're kind of struggling with how to do that or get your mind wrapped around with like the prospecting strategies and things of that nature, we can definitely help you with that. And we'll leave a link in this video with our call, what's it called? Our book to call link. And we can have a conversation to see how we can support you with that. But yeah, I mean, does anybody not have any other questions? Like, we come on here, guys, for you guys. Like, me and Jordan can happily be doing all types of stuff. Trust me.
Yeah, Angel.
Santosh, what's up,
Santosh again.
What's up, my man? How can we help you?
Angel, I just wanted to understand what are the different ways we can push the leads from Funnelbolt to, or to any other software through webhooks. What is that? Is we can push only through the lead stages, or are there any other, ways to push the leads?
Great question. Jordan, you can handle that one.
Yeah, for right now, within the deal stage, there is a webhook feature. Are you sharing your screen right now, Angel?
Yeah, let me not share. There we go.
Where you can webhook an action out, and what we're also adding to the Zapier app is the ability to export like directly without it going through like a deal stage. So basically, where you would trigger that at this point I'm assuming you can see my screen, would be
Yep.
in the deal stage settings. So if I go here and I want to send the lead somewhere else, you just put the webhook data here. And
Right. So,
anytime someone hits that part of the pipeline, and it can be different wherever. So so you can have an address here, you can have an address, at each stage you can have a different address if you need to. That way, you can send the contact somewhere else, or if you wanted to trigger actions, you can do that. So, but for right now, with
One more way
Zapier
too, Jordan, to add to that, Jordan, which you mentioned the other day too, that I think would be valuable to repeat, is the fact that what you could do, Santosh, is take all the leads using a webhook and drive them into a Google sheet.
Yeah.
Right. And then trigger, because Zapier connects with Google Sheets very easily. So what you would do is when a row is added, right, that's the trigger you would use in Zapier. When a row is added, trigger this other thing to happen, whether
right.
it's to
So
send a
actually,
proposal or whatever.
right. So what we are trying to do right now, I have already integrated Funnelbolt with other CRM through Integrate Leads. If that's a other software which works similarly like Zapier, and through webhooks, in fact. So
Okay.
what we want to do is, we want to directly send the leads which have shown some kind of interest, which in the sense, like, basically, all the leads who have responded through these campaigns directly to our CRM. So is there any way we can do that?
That's a great question. I have to think about it for 2 minutes. Can we trigger, Jordan, from a response, whether it's another action or drive that lead to a different campaign, then that triggers a forwarding?
So you can do two different things, and there's a reason why we don't have this feature, and that's because, like, anytime somebody responds to an email, especially if you're cold emailing, right? Like, if somebody responds via cold email, it could be literally anything. And then if you have that in a 100%, automated response based on reply, like, the odds of that response being and
Positive.
being cohesive and being positive with your prospect are like very slim. So what you can do is, if you are going to cold email, which I think that's what you're going to do, if you are going to cold email, within that email you can ask them to take an action, or you can put a link in there to have them take an action, like either book a call or like whatever it is. And then what you can do is set up triggers within that calendar. So if it's Calendly or Schedule Once or whatever you're using, Acuity, you can set up the trigger within the calendar system to then automatically move the deal stage, and that's going to trigger different responses. So to answer your question, if somebody replies, no, we're not going to tag that and tell it to send, whatever on reply, because that's
Unless you have like AI reading the emails and it knows what's a positive and a negative reply, you won't be able to kind of categorize, like, without someone physically reading the emails, whether it's a good or bad email. So that's basically the reason why. So another way you could do this too, Santosh, is have someone, getting notifications, because you can get a notification phone, right? A notification email. And basically you get a notification when someone replies, and then just have someone managing that and then moving them over to a deal stage that might be a positive reply deal stage. And then that triggers whatever you want. But just having someone there manually, whether have maybe 2 deal stages after the send, which is negative reply and positive reply, and then just have someone manage the replies. And then it's not going to be super crazy labor. It's just going to be, you're going to have a human eye doing quality assurance, whether it's a positive or negative. And then you would just drag that human being over to the positive deal stage if it's a positive reply, and then that will trigger whatever actions that you want, or you trigger, you move them over to negative reply, and that might trigger nothing, right? Because you don't want to continue sending them anything. So that's just the way right now that I would suggest to do it. I think is the easiest way. Plus, you'll be able to see in a 10,000 foot view how many people you're working with that have positive replies. And then you can even leave notes within those contact fields. So, if you're going to do the replies via email back and forth through Funnelbolt, the best way to do that is keep it all within the system, and then, trigger whatever else you want to happen when a positive reply happens, whether it's an automatic email or a text message or whatever that is. That way you can manage your pipeline from an admin view and see kind of what's happening, right? Because if you just send that off, you don't know what's happening. Like, you don't know what's happening with those positive replies. You don't know if they've closed those deals. And ideally, you want to, educate your clients or your team to move that person also over to close deal if you close the deal. That way, like how many of those positive replies actually converted into sales, or how many of those positive replies booked a call but didn't show up. You would move that person over. And so having all these different deal stages versus just kind of sending the lead out and hoping for the best and not tracking what's happening, that would be the best way to get the most production out of your pipeline, and educating your team on that is going to serve you a benefit and them a benefit, because that's going to allow no leads to fall through the cracks. You can create specific campaigns for no-shows and things of that nature that you wouldn't be able to otherwise do if you were to just send that lead off and hope for the best.
All right. That really helps. And thank you.
No worries. So we're about we got 2 minutes left, right, Jordan?
Yep.
Got about 2 minutes left. We have time for maybe one more question. Felix says overcomplicating. Yeah, man, this can be a little complicating for sure. But once you get the hang of it, it's smooth sailing, that's for sure. But that's the reason, guys, that we're doing these live calls for you guys for the time being, to kind of get some of that fog out of your mind and get you some clarity. Now, those that show up obviously get the most value because they can ask the questions live. Those that watch the replay are obviously taking and absorbing what other people are asking, which is what it is. But yeah, guys, we do this every Wednesday at the same exact time. So, it's not that hard to create that time available for your, in your calendar. If you're working a part-time or full-time job, that's a little bit different. That's why we record these and then post them in the free training portal. But guys, if you do have a very tight schedule, and if that's because you're working a corporate job, that means you're making some money, maybe coaching might be a better fit for you, right? Where we can work from your schedule, and help you get to the next level and answering your questions specifically. So that's all that we got for you guys for today. Once again, we'll leave the link at the bottom of this, once we post the training in the comments to book a call if you guys have any questions. And that's basically it, guys. We'll catch you on the next one, and hope you guys found some value. Take it easy, guys.
All right, guys. We'll see you.